NFL football is almost back, and for the Philadelphia Eagles, all their attention is on the New England Patriots, as the two teams will face each other in just 5 days, and just ahead of their matchup, a lot of things have transpired, including the Eagles going out and making several different roster moves. But speaking of roster moves, more could be on the way, as the Eagles still have a huge decision to make ahead of their Week 1 contest regarding a very crucial position. And a similar thing can be said for the Eagles' safety position, as we still don't quite know who will be starting in Foxborough on Sunday, but that will change very soon. So what's the latest on that situation? And also, what's the latest on the Nolan Smith injury situation? I mean, could he be trending in the direction of playing on Sunday? Well, if he does end up playing, he's going to have a really good chance of having a great NFL debut, as the Eagles defense could be in position to dominate the Patriots offense on Sunday after we just got this big news. And finally, the Eagles have just announced their captains for the 2023 season, and there are a few first-timers on the list. So we're going to talk about all of that in this video today, so let's not waste any time and get straight into it. Okay, so real quick, huge announcement. As of yesterday, I just released my Eagles hype video for the upcoming season. If you're interested in that, make sure you go check it out after this video. It will be the top link in the description. Trust me, if you're an Eagles fan, you're not going to want to miss it. Now, with all that being said, let's actually get into the video. Okay, so just today we got some big news, as the Eagles have announced their captains for the 2023 season, and the list features a few first-timers. Now, the Eagles got 9 captains for this year, those being Jalen Hurts, Jason Kelce, Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, Lane Johnson, Darius Slay, Jake Elliott, AJ Brown, and DeVonta Smith. So congrats to all those guys, particularly AJ and DeVonta, who are the 2 first-timers on this list. You know, just glad to hear that they're really starting to become leaders for this Eagles team. And again, just to all these guys, being named a captain is a phenomenal accomplishment, so congratulations to all of them. But now moving on, we actually have some more pretty recent news, as of yesterday, the Eagles just made a few roster moves, all in regards to the practice squad, with the Birds first dropping a couple players from it, including recently signed cornerback Tiawan Mullen, who the Eagles had just picked up not even a week ago after he was cut by the Chargers. But you know, I guess the Eagles figured they probably have enough depth at cornerback anyway, and that spot could be used for someone else. Plus, the Eagles also then dropped their 2022 6th-round pick Kyron Johnson from the practice squad, who of course is a rush linebacker and also played a lot of special teams for the Birds last year. But with the Eagles selecting Nolan Smith in this year's draft, plus them already having Haason Reddick and Patrick Johnson, there just really wasn't too much room for Kyron Johnson anymore with the Eagles, so they have now released him along with Mullen. And those 2 moves made room for the Eagles to make a couple more additions to the practice squad, starting with Tyre Phillips, who is an offensive lineman that was a 3rd-round pick by the Ravens back in 2020. He then spent 2 years there and started in 13 games while playing in 22 of them before being cut ahead of the 2022 season. He was then picked up by the New York Giants and played in 12 games for them last year, and he started in 5 of those games, but then this offseason he was eventually cut by the Giants. Overall, I definitely think this is a good move. I mean, it's always good to have depth on the offensive line, and Phillips is a guy who is super versatile and can play a lot of different positions. I mean, sure, he's not a great player by any means, but he is definitely a good depth addition to the practice squad. But the more notable addition that the Eagles made was bringing back linebacker Nicholas Morrow, who of course the Eagles had signed early in free agency with the hopes of him establishing himself as a starting linebacker next to Nakobe Dean. However, he was outshined by the Eagles' other options at linebacker in the new addition Zach Cunningham and Christian Ellis in training camp, so he was then cut by the Eagles. However, I really like that the Eagles were able to find a way to bring back Morrow to the practice squad, because at the end of the day, he still has ability. I mean, I feel like we forget that he led the Bears in total tackles last year, not to mention the fact that he really has gotten better every year that he's been in the league so far. Plus, the Eagles were a little thin at linebacker anyway, so I like Morrow returning. I think this is a great depth move, and if for whatever reason he has to play this year, I think he can definitely be a serviceable option. But what do you guys think? What do you make of Morrow returning to the practice squad? Do you like it? Do you not? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Now, despite the Eagles just making a few moves, there is still one more that the Eagles have to make ahead of their matchup with New England, and that is in regards to the punter position, as we still don't know who's going to fill that role for the Eagles, with the game being in just 5 days. Now, the Eagles have already brought in a bunch of guys for workouts, including former Penn State and Saints punter Blake Gillikin, former Bears and Packers punter Pat O'Donnell, and Kobe Wadman, who previously punted for the Broncos but hasn't played since 2019. But the most interesting guy who the Eagles brought in for a workout was Braden Mann, who previously played for the Jets and was just released by the Steelers. Now, we knew that the Eagles had interest in Mann, so it's no surprise that the Eagles held a workout with him on Monday. Now, Mann isn't a phenomenal punter by any means, but he's definitely an upgrade over Siposs in my eyes, so it'll be interesting to see if the Eagles sign him this week just ahead of their first game. Or maybe they decide they want to sign one of the other guys who they worked out, or maybe they just want to elevate Siposs from the practice squad and roll with him for this first game. I mean, I don't know, but the Eagles just got to figure this out soon. But what do you guys think? Who should the Eagles punter be in their Week 1 matchup versus the Patriots? I mean, that's a huge question, and one that definitely will be answered soon. And another question that's going to be answered very soon is who will start at safety for the Eagles in Week 1? I mean, even this close to the start of the season, I think it's really hard to say. Although I do think a lot of Eagles fans are hoping that it ends up being rookie Sidney Brown, who impressed all throughout training camp and preseason with his high energy and motor as well as his athletic ability, which prompted Jimmy Kempski of the Philly Voice to say, quote, "Brown is the most gifted of the Eagles safeties athletically. When he decides to attack a ball carrier or a spot in the secondary where he thinks a pass is heading, he gets there fast and with bad intentions." And like I said earlier, we got to see a glimpse of that in the Eagles preseason games where Brown was flying all over the field. And Kempski and the fans aren't the only ones who have been impressed with Brown this offseason, with Reed Blankenship recently having some very high praise for the rookie.
He's a hard worker, really hard worker. Very smart. It's sometimes hard to tell if he's a rookie or not, and that's a good thing. Like I said, he flies around the field, and obviously it's better to slow guys down than to speed them up. So he's doing great, and he's gonna be a great player for us.
I mean, I'm personally really excited about Sydney Brown and rooting for him to start, although I do think that Justin Evans seems to have a very real shot as well, with him playing only the first quarter of the team's last preseason game, and Howie Roseman saying some very positive things about him just after the Birds made their initial roster cuts, as he said, quote, "We know that this is a guy who's got really good physical tools. We like having him on the team. He loves football. He has great energy about him. We're excited to see what he's going to do in an Eagles uniform." Plus, Terrell Edmunds also seems to have a real shot, as he played only the first quarter of the team's last preseason game as well. However, I don't really see either one of those two guys as long-term solutions, but Sydney Brown is a guy who I think could be here for a very long time if he plays up to his potential, and I feel like the Eagles probably feel the same way. So, I don't know, the Eagles got to make a decision, and no matter what direction they go, I won't be surprised, although I am fully rooting for Sydney Brown. But what do you guys think? Who do you think should start at safety next to Reed Blankenship in Week 1? And moving on, we got some big news recently that sets the Eagles defense up perfectly to have a dominant effort against the Patriots on Sunday, so don't worry, we're going to get to that in a little bit more, but just real quick here, I want to say, if you are enjoying this video and want to see others like it coming in the future, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Around 80% of the people that watch these videos are not subscribed. If you're one of those people, you've been consistently watching these videos, you're enjoying them, and you love the Philadelphia Eagles and don't want to miss any coverage coming throughout the season, make sure you fix that right now, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss when any future videos are uploaded. And also, again, make sure you go check out my Eagles hype video that I just released on my second channel, Philly Fan 21 Productions. I think that's a win-win for the both of us. And now with all that being said, let's get back into the video. So ever since Nolan Smith got injured in the Browns preseason game, his status for the season opener versus the Patriots has been in question because despite him saying that he was fine and the Eagles only took him out for precautionary reasons, he then went on to miss a lot of practices. So this had some people a little bit worried about the nature of Smith's shoulder injury. But now over the past week or so, things seem to be just fine. Nolan Smith has been back at practice with pads on, and according to Thomas R. Peterson way back on September 1st, which was last Friday, Nolan Smith has been more and more active in practice as the days have gone on, and he's on track to play in the opener versus the Patriots. So that's definitely great to hear. I can't wait to see Nolan Smith in his first official NFL game on Sunday, assuming he's cleared to play, of course. It also seems like if he does play, he's in position to potentially have a very good debut, as we just got some huge news that has really set up Nolan Smith and the other Eagles edge rushers nicely to have a great first game versus the Patriots, as the Pats just placed their starting right tackle Riley Reiff on IR as he is dealing with a leg injury. And this just adds to the slew of injuries the Patriots have been facing along their offensive line during camp. Now with the Pats O-line dealing with all these injuries, and specifically at right tackle, the Eagles pass rushers should be able to have a lot of success in getting to Mac Jones against a lot of backups on the Pats offensive line, which could potentially lead to an all-around dominating effort. I mean, if the Pats O-line struggles and Jones is getting hit all day long, that could make it really tough on the Patriots offense to move the ball down the field. Plus, the Patriots also have to deal with another pretty significant injury on the offensive side of the ball, with wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster still dealing with a knee injury that he suffered way back in January during the playoffs last year with the Chiefs. And according to Albert Breer, Smith-Schuster's knee reportedly, quote, could explode at any moment. Juju then refuted that, saying that his knee's been getting better every day, but still, that's something to keep your eye on as we get closer and closer to the Eagles and Patriots Week 1 matchup. And with Smith-Schuster clearly being the top guy, this knee injury has kinda put in question how good he's going to be in Week 1. So all things are pointing towards it being a really tough day for the Patriots offense, and as long as the Eagles offense then holds up their end of the bargain, we could be looking at a potential blowout. Now obviously the game still has to be played. Just because things look good on paper for the Eagles doesn't mean that's actually how it's going to go down, but still, ahead of the matchup, a Twitter account, X account by the name of State of the Eagles made a very good point, as he said, quote, Haason Reddick, Josh Sweat, Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith, Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, Milton Williams, Jordan Davis, Derek Barnett, Nakobe Dean, and Zach Cunningham. I'm not sure how the Patriots O-line stops that for 60 minutes or how Mac Jones survives in good condition. I mean, you really can't deny that. And I guess we'll see how it looks on game day, but this injury to the Patriots right tackle is only going to make it harder on the Pats O-line to stop an already stacked Eagles defensive line. And one of the members of that D-line who's ready to show out in his rookie debut is Jalen Carter. I mean, Carter really has been the talk of training camp because he's looked like he could potentially be a future star, with a countless number of Eagles players taking note of just how good Carter has looked and the potential bright future they see ahead for him. Now, I actually just made a whole video pretty much breaking down the entire timeline of ever since Jalen Carter was drafted to the Eagles and ever since he got here, and just going really into detail on how he's looked this offseason, so you can go check that out along with the Eagles hype video for this season after this video if you want to do that. But one aspect of Carter being in Philly that is just so important is the culture that he has been brought into. I mean, this is the perfect situation for Carter to succeed in large part because of the veteran leadership that the Eagles have, and a huge example of that can be seen in some recent comments made by Jalen Carter talking about Fletcher Cox, as he said, quote, "Fletch is a very good guy. He talks to me every day, calls me. Even when we're on break, he was calling me every day, checking on my weight. He's been doing that ever since." So you gotta love this from Fletch. I mean, this is part of the reason why he's such a great leader and a consistent captain for this Eagles team year in and year out. I mean, he's willing to help out and mentor the young guys, which is so important. And for someone like Carter, who has so much potential but just has to stay focused, having a mentor like Fletch is really beneficial, and now both are gonna look to go out and dominate together starting on Sunday versus the Patriots. And man, I'm just so excited. I cannot wait for the season opener on Sunday. And if you don't want to miss any coverage regarding that or anything else regarding the Eagles throughout this entire season, again, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, drop a like on this video to show some support if you did enjoy, and leave a comment down below regarding anything that I talked about in this video. And also, again, check out my Eagles hype video if you have not already. It will be the top link in the description. And also, you can watch the video breaking down the entire timeline of Jalen Carter ever since he arrived in Philadelphia right here. Now, with all that being said, that's pretty much all I got for this video, guys. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.